evening, all you minties. And I'm smiling because I see some really funny comments about Omar being late in the chat about
showed up on time. What are you talking about?
He did show up on time, but good evening, everyone. How are you doing today? I am your lovely host, the amazing Amanda. This is my lovely co-host, the uncanny Omar.
almost as lovely as the host. How's everybody doing? Today we are going to be talking about The Flash. We love doing these movie reviews when it's still fresh on the mind of everybody, because this is the first week that the movie came out. Long time coming, though. This movie has been... What's up, Omnibo and everybody tonight? This movie has been a long time in production hell. I guess post-production, because of all the delays and probably wanting to
pandemic.
Do. Now, here's something to keep in mind. We are going to review this movie as a movie.
Yes.
Objectively. So all the things, all the drama and all the things that happened outside of this movie, probably not going to talk about, because we are just focusing on the movie and how it delivered as a movie. So I do the same thing with comics when I do comic overviews. You know, I stay away from all the personal things that are happening. But I'm pretty sure most people have heard about all the crazy things that have happened with the stars in this movie, but not just this movie. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right. So,
anyways, yes, we're just
last of it, right? Last of its kind. This is the farewell to the Snyderverse, because from what we understand, the Aquaman 2 is going to be part of the Gunn universe,
and I'm assuming Blue Beetle as well, because it seems like they're going to have a place in it, and not just that, because they've mentioned a lot in previous interviews that this movie is almost like a reset, if you will, of the universe, and we'll talk about that and what that can mean for the DCU given the events of this film. But I think that by the end of this film, I can see why they say that, but that means that it shows that Aquaman can still exist in the new universe, and so can, I guess, Blue Beetle, because they're also coming out in August. So that's after this as well.
And we don't know if Blue Beetle is also going to be in Gunverse or stuck in this whatever Snyderverse, right?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I mean,
honestly, I think moving forward, I think whether it's the Gunverse or Snyderverse depends on how well these movies perform at the box office. I'm pretty sure that's how we're gonna do it. So
I'm sorry. Hey, nope. James Gunn did confirm that Blue Beetle will be the first official character in the new DC universe.
Oh, he did confirm it. Cool. Okay.
Lied. Wait, y'all lied. Sorry, I was like, I knew I had to Google that just to find out.
That movie did start before the whole James Gunn taking over the DCU, so we will see. And Matt just said the same thing, and so did Bloss, saying that they will that Blue Beetle was the first Gunn. So, all right.
So hopefully that still sticks. Yeah. So let's talk about The Flash.
The Flash. This is the first Flash solo movie.
Yeah,
and he starred in, oh my goodness, I can't even remember all these roles. Batman versus Superman, I believe, was the first appearance of the Flash in the Snyderverse. Yeah, and then of course the Justice League movie. He's had cameos in Peacemaker, I believe, right? Peacemaker.
Yeah, he was the end of Peacemaker, and then he also showed up in the CW shows Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right, which was really interesting. Okay, we will talk about that. Again, we're talking about spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go and watch it and decide for yourself how you feel about it. If you don't care about spoilers, then hey, let's have a blast. Let's get nuts.
Yeah,
and if you've watched it, then you're here for the fun. So, yeah, this is damn it. It's so weird to watch this movie back to back with Across the Spider-Verse, because I feel like it kind of has the same plot. So, again, reviewing it objectively without comparing it to the Marvel movie, because this movie was filmed a long time ago. When we get to the ending of this, I do want to talk about things that I feel like we're missing, that were taken out, and I don't know what the reasoning was.
Oh, we'll definitely talk about that, yeah.
Give me the pitch, Amanda. What is the pitch of The Flash?
All right. So Flash, directed by Andy Muschietti, which we all know was, most recently famous for directing the new adaptations of It that a lot of people have grown to love. They're some of my favorite films.
The first one, yes.
First one, yes. Second one, not so much.
Needed some good edits.
Yes. Written by God, I can't believe I have to say this person's name twice in less than 3 days. Joby Harold, the same writer from Rise of the Beast. I can't believe I'm saying that twice over in less than a week. But this guy not only wrote Transformers: Rise of the Beast, which we just reviewed on Wednesday, but he also wrote this film. Also, Christina Hodson, who wrote Birds of Prey, The Emancipation of Harley Quinn, Bumblebee, of course, and then she will be also writing Fast X Part 2. So those are our writers for this film. Of course, we bring back Ezra Miller as the Flash. We have Ben Affleck as Batman 1, Michael Keaton as Batman 2. And here's your first spoiler, George Clooney as Batman 3. What's that about? But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Sasha Calle as Kara or Supergirl.
Kara Zor-El.
Kara Zor-El. Yep. We have Kiersey Clemens coming back as Iris West. She did make a small appearance in the Justice League, and she still makes a small appearance in this film too. Not much character growth for Iris West in this one.
Yeah, I forgot that she was in the Justice League, and they kind of tied it in with this movie when they were like, "You look familiar," not because of the college years, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is the drive of the Flash? What's going on? Why are there two Flashes in the trailer? Why is Michael Keaton Batman in the trailer? Why is Ben Affleck Batman in the trailer?
Yeah. Well, I mean, basically, like everyone's been saying, it's like Flashpoint. So he's still dealing with the death of his mother after all these years. His father is about to lose yet another appeal because their one last glimmer of hope was a video footage that was once distorted on a security camera in the store where he was getting the tomatoes and gone when his mother and him were at home and his mother was killed by some unknown intruder. And Batman, or Bruce Wayne, was trying to pretty much help him get this footage, unscramble it so that it would show that his father was there. But unfortunately, his father never looks up. So his father's about to lose another appeal. So he's still without his only parent left in the world. He's dealing with his new powers, or well, they're not new anymore, but he's dealing with being a superhero and being Bruce Wayne's like right-hand man at this point because he's apparently the only one ever available.
Well, and this time around, his dad is played by another actor too, because in the Justice League movie,
it was Billy Crudup.
Billy Crudup, that's right. This time around, it's Ron Livingston from, of course, Office Space.
Yeah, Office Space.
One of my favorite TV shows of all TV miniseries, Band of Brothers. But he plays Henry Allen, so he plays Barry's dad in this.
Exactly, which is really interesting. I wonder why maybe Billy couldn't return because of scheduling, or I don't know. I'm interested to see why they chose to change him up. But
when you're talking about a movie, it threw me off because when you're talking about a movie about a multiverse where different actors are playing the same character, I'm like, is this the Barry that is in the Justice League movie, or is this a Barry from another universe that's slightly changed?
Exactly.
I'm sure they were like, "Oh shit."
Yes. That's exactly.
And he's notorious for leaving stuff on the cutting room floor, even things that were in trailers like full scenes in too. Apparently, there were several required edits for this due to the DCU.
You can see that,
and I do want to talk about that, and I can't wait to talk about the ending with you all and see what you all think about this. Omar, you look good swinging that glass one. Yes, I've had plenty of practice. Thank you so much. I've had plenty of practice with that. All right.
Yeah. So basically, Barry's upset because his father is about to lose another appeal because unfortunately he's not looking up. So they're not going to be able to say this is definitively him. And he gets so upset. He runs so fast. He ends up running back in time just a little bit. And he realizes that he can use the Speed Force to travel in time in what's called the Chrono Bowl. So he talks to Bruce about it. Bruce is like, hey, things that happen to us, we can't go back and change it. It's for a reason. And of course, that doesn't sit well with Barry. And he realizes, well, if he just changed one thing, like if his mom didn't forget the tomatoes, so his dad didn't have to go to the store, then maybe his dad would have been there, and maybe his mom would have been killed, and maybe his dad would be in jail. So guess what he does? He goes back in time and slips some tomatoes in her cart at the grocery store. Yeah, what?
As I was watching this, I was sitting next to my daughter, and we both look at each other going, Barry's half Latino? What?
I thought the same thing, too. I did not know that.
Where,
But
where,
it's
where
Ezra.
did that
It's
come
Ezra
from? Because
Miller.
I was trying to figure out her accent at first. I'm like, is she Italian? The mom, Iris West, of course.
Yeah.
Like, is she half Italian or is she Latina? I can't tell. Oh
Well,
well,
it's
I'll write it out.
Maribel Verdú, and she is Hispanic.
Oh wait, not
It's
Iris West.
from
I'm
Y
sorry.
Tu Mamá También, was
Nora Allen.
famously,
Oh, she is. Oh, she
yeah,
was the girl that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, so yeah, she was. I think that's what she's supposed to be, but yeah. So he does. So he ends up changing. So he ends up doing this. So it should change his past. But when he's in the Chrono Bowl or in the Speed Force, some mysterious creature, humanoid figure person with all these shards protruding out of his body comes in, another speedster, and pushes him out of the Speed Force.
Mhm.
And he's in front of his house, and what he believes is,
to comic book readers, immediately you think, oh, it's the Black Flash, right? It's the Grim Reaper who possesses the super speed. And you kind of know who it is because if you've read comics, you're like, I know where this is going to go. It does a little bit of that, a little bit of a change, but I feel like it's still the Black Flash. I don't think I've heard anyone call him the Black Flash, but to me, it was
the Black Flash. Yeah,
it felt like it. Yeah.
Josh, we're going to talk about this whole plot holes and things like that here in a little bit, because that's a very good point you're bringing up. Does it matter if you're replacing the tomatoes? I thought the same thing. Is that person still not going to come to the house when both parents are dead? I don't know.
Yep. Gosh, I'd really want to talk about this because whenever you have time travel movies, you're going to create a bunch of plot holes because every time travel movie, like, it shows us the different rules of time travel, including this one. No longer are you creating an alternate timeline, but now you're creating a crux or like an anyway, go ahead, Amanda. We'll come back to that, I promise.
So when he's pushed out, he is in front of his house, and what he thinks is everything's okay and it's all good. He walks in, and his mom's alive. His mom's there. She's obviously older. Her hair has some gray hair in it, and it's clear that they think this is a Barry that should be in college right now. He was coming home for dinner, so obviously he realizes he's in the wrong time. He didn't go farther enough back into the future into what his current point of time would have been. And of course, he then notices that there's a younger version of him who's happily just trotting along, ready to come in the door, and he stops him before he has a chance. And here we get some great comedic moments because we get two Ezra Millers, essentially. We have
really great. Mileage may vary.
So you have two Ezra Millers. You have a young version who is a freshman in college. And this is a version of Barry who never had to go without his mother. He grew up very loved by both parents, clearly very spoiled by his parents. And you can see that in the way he interacts generally. And then you have a different Barry, our Barry, who we always thought was kind of annoying. He was kind of annoying in the Justice League. In the beginning of the movie, he's a little bit strange and annoying, but now he seems like the more mature one when you put the two of them together. So he realizes that he's didn't go further enough in the future. It's 2013, and it's also happens to be the same exact day in his timeline when he would have got struck by lightning at the crime lab that he was interning at. This Barry, though, isn't at the crime lab. I don't think is even interning there. So he has to get him there so that he can get his powers. So, of course, hilarity ensues as they try to go enter into this, into the crime lab. And once this younger Barry realizes what's going to happen, he doesn't want to get struck by lightning and have a bunch of chemicals douse him. Our Barry is holding him. The lightning strikes. It strikes both Barrys. Our Barry now has no powers. Young Barry has new powers. So now he has to teach young Barry how to use his powers. And then at the same time, Zod is coming because it's also the same time of Man of Steel. That also is happening at the same exact time. And go ahead.
I do like the realization that, oh, I've kind of screwed up time. And the realization comes in the form of something that is very meta. And I immediately looked at my daughter and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's in the wrong timeline. Because they mentioned the movie Back to the Future. Like, yes. And in that Barry, Gary, whatever the hell, young
Barry, yeah.
mentions, "Oh yeah, I love that movie with Eric Stoltz," and he was
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about? Michael J.
No,
Fox
Michael J.
is
Fox.
Michael J. Fox is the lead character in that." What's funny is that Eric Stoltz like filmed a third of this movie, and the production company was like, "No, he's wrong." Or actually, the directors were like, "No, he's wrong for the role. We always wanted Michael J. Fox for this character." So I thought it was a nice little nod to that movie, and also a nice nod to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny when they kept going, but no, Michael J. Fox is in this movie, and then or in Footloose. He said he was in Footloose, and then they said,
Oh yeah. So then he's like, "What the hell?" And then
Mhm.
Top Gun Maverick. Oh, you mean the guy Kevin Bacon, the guy from Top Gun Maverick?
Top of bag. I was no, yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of
So
kept going.
it kept going, and it was really cute. So essentially, Zod is here, and there is no Superman, and he realizes there's no metahumans because he's searching for Aquaman. He's searching for, and they also have a dude. They do even call Thomas Curry, and he's like, and he has a wife, and he says, "Your wife is a mermaid or whatever," and he looks over at his wife, and she is not, in fact, Nicole Kidman. So he essentially realizes that because he altered his timeline, he altered the timeline in general. So there's no metahumans, but maybe there's still a Batman. And when he says there's no Batman, of course, that everyone knows the Batman. So there is a Batman that does exist. So he has to find Bruce Wayne. So that takes them on a trip to Wayne Manor. And Wayne Manor is run down. Wayne Manor is disheveled. And so is Bruce Wayne. We see a very different Bruce Wayne in the form of Michael Keaton. He is obviously an older version of the 1980 Batman that we know, in 1980s Batman we know and love, but he did his job so well that Gotham didn't need him anymore. So he is a man without purpose, and he is a man who has lost his way.
And also a man without Alfred.
And yes, well, Alfred was always older than him, wasn't he, kids?
Well, and I think Alfred was the one character or actor that stayed in all 4 movies. Mm-hmm. Now, I haven't seen the 4th one in years, but I want to say he also was part of Batman and Robin.
He was I think so.
One actor that stayed in those movies.
Didn't he die? Yes.
Oh, he passed away a while back.
But I think in the movie they put that in the movie because that's how.
The 4th movie?
I thought that's what I thought he did. I don't know.
But you bought spaghetti and tomato sauce to explain time travel.
Speaking of spaghetti, we'll talk about spaghetti because I got a meme for that too. Anyway, so we are introduced to Michael Keaton's Batman, who now Barry and him have a whole conversation about time travel with the idea of spaghetti. Because of well, first it looks like the Ancient Ones description where they have the branches of time, and I was like, oh, this looks very familiar. We're minus the Hulk and a bunch of magic. And then he uses the plate of spaghetti to talk about how he's messed up time. And there's all these different things. It's all kind of interwoven like this. So Barry realizes that what they need to do is find out where Superman is, because obviously that's why Zod is here, to find Superman. If they can find Superman and get him to fight Zod, everything will be okay. So he uses Batman's technology in the Batcave, and he ends up getting the help from Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne ends up helping him find the secret files that he needs, and finds out that there is a Kryptonian who is sealed somewhere in Russia. So they get in the Batmobile plane. The Batwing, thank you. And they go off to Siberia, Russia, somewhere in there, and have to break into this Russian prison cell, essentially, for what they thought was Superman. But it turns out it is not. It is Supergirl, or Kara Zor-El. And of course, Barry still doesn't leave her behind because he can't do that, right? He needs to save, because he's a hero. So he does save her. And we're not there yet. We're past the baby.
We passed that, but we need to talk about that.
We'll talk about the baby.
You said hero, so I was like, all right, hero. Here's a picture of him.
But once they rape, so we have this elaborate scene of them trying to escape, and once they do, they put Kara into the sun, and then she gets her powers back long enough to pretty much kill all of those Russian soldiers, and they're able to get back to Wayne Manor. And then we see that Kara is not the same type of superhuman Kryptonian that Kal-El was. So Kal-El is lost. We don't know where his little pod had gone off to. When she arrived on Earth, she was here to protect Kal-El, and instead she was captured by humans, taken by humans, and pretty much she doesn't trust humans. because look what they did to her all these years. And so you have a more hardened Kara, you have a pretty much lost Batman who's starting to find his purpose again. He was ready to put on the bat suit. And you have our Barry with no powers who's trying to get his powers back. And this is where he finally reveals to Bruce why he's doing everything that he's doing. He said yeah.
Sasha Calle was great,
Yes,
but I wanted to see more of her. If you want to see more of her, go and check out pictures of the premiere of Flash. You're welcome.
Yep. She did look,
he wanted to see
great
more
as Flash. She did look great. And she was good in this movie. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
So Bruce helps him recreate an experiment that will essentially turn him back into the Flash. At the same time, he also tells Bruce why he's doing this about his mother dying, and he tried to fix time. He didn't want younger Barry to know. Younger Barry, of course, is overhearing all of this. So that kind of changes things for younger Barry, right? Because now he's like, wait, we can go back in time, we can fix things. And oh, my mother died. And so there's a lot of stuff's playing on a young Barry's mind while our Barry is trying to get his powers back. Eventually, Kara does decide to help them, and she ends up helping Barry get his powers back. So now we have two Flashes, we have Supergirl, and we have Batman. And now they decide they're going to go ahead and get to Zod. Basically, they're all going to distract the other Kryptonians while Kara fights Zod. So then we get our massive third act battle, or what we assume was going to be our third act battle, and everything seems good, but then one thing happens after another, and Zod kills Kara, and Batman's ship gets taken out, and he goes down fighting. So two of the heroes die. And of course, young Barry can't take this because A, he's never witnessed death before, unlike our older Barry, and two, he's dealing with the fact that he just realized that his mom had died in a previous timeline, and he doesn't want these things to happen. So he realizes that he can also travel fast enough to go back in time. So we have the two Barrys chasing each other into the Chrono Bowl, and young Barry convinces older Barry at first to help try to change the past. They try it once, they try it twice. It doesn't work every time.
And then it's very important to know that this is where Batman says, no, this is a fixed point.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
I have to die.
Exactly.
So every time they keep going back, Barry, Barry, the older Barry, realizes that, oh, we're not changing anything. Then things are only going to get worse. That universe has to end.
Exactly.
Like Zod is going to destroy that universe. So this is where the Black Flash appears. And of course, it shows us the multiple timelines too.
Mm-hmm.
And the multiple timelines, I feel like this is what, everybody was talking about. Everybody that's going to go and see this movie, that this is where they're going to be talking about. Because you see everything from the beginning. George Reeves, Superman to Christopher Reeves, and oh my gosh, Supergirl.
Yeah.
In this CGI style. Sorry, I grabbed some pictures from different places. Oh, we didn't talk about this little cameo, but we will. We need to talk about that one too. Including, all kinds of unexpected types of cameos, including movies that were in production but never got made, like the Tim. Dude, as soon as I saw the spider, I was like, oh my gosh, is that Nick Cage Superman? I don't even know why I'm excited. He would have been a horrible Superman. I don't know. He could have been great. But to see Nick Cage in this outfit,
it was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh. And at this moment, whether you're a fan of The Flash or whether, you're making fun of the CGI in this movie the whole time, it's still pretty cool to look at because this is years in the making. This is the moment like in Spider-Verse when everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's Spider-Man 29, it's Spider-Girl, it's Mayday Parker. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that type of feeling through these particular scenes. And it's all done in a Crisis on Infinite Earth style with this red sky. So, this is where they're spinning and they see the different timelines. I mean, and it is a beautiful moment whenever you hear John Williams' score and you see these two characters step out, and then going back to this, you see Batman 66 in there. Surprised we didn't get this.
Yeah.
Considering this was part this was the Crisis on Infinite Earth's little, a blooper, or not blooper, I'm sorry, the end credit scene.
Exactly. I don't know why we didn't get that, because
They
obviously
already
that
filmed it.
a multiverse. Yeah, you could have just regardless, they could have at least put Grant Gustin as a cameo. They have scenes of him doing things right in the Flash. It wouldn't have been that hard. So I was disappointed that wasn't in there at all.
But we did get the Jay Garrick from the TV show.
True,
That's,
we did.
that's Eddie Sears, right?
Yeah.
But you got Adam West Batman. You got the Joker, Romero's Joker from that time. Cesar, you hear Cesar Romero's Joker's laugh. So it was really interesting to see all of these. Now, it's not like they came in and are like, we heard you guys needed help because you're getting your ass kicked. It was more like, oh, we're tapping into different multiverses.
Yeah, they're all starting to converge on each other.
It plays heavy on the fans, right? Like it plays heavy on
fan
the
service.
I was there in the theater, or my dad used to watch this show. My grandfather used to watch this show, or I've heard about you know what I'm saying? Like it plays heavy on nostalgia, and that's what it kind of gave you without really adding anything to the plot. It's just kind of there. But then again, the same thing happened in Spider-Verse in a way, right? We had all these things that
we could argue
in the
that
background for people to go, it's so and I get it. Yeah, I get that way too.
Not as blatant, but we could talk about that. It's not like we're comparing the movies, but anyway.
Okay. Oh, that was Hunter. Thank you. And supposedly that Jay isn't Teddy Sears from the CW, but actually Hunter Allen is that from the CW?
Well, John Wesley Shipp was played. He
was
in the CW show.
Okay.
And he also played Henry Allen just as his dad. And then he does make a cameo as his version of the Flash in the 90s TV series in that Crisis on Infinite Earth. But I don't know. So, and I was expecting Dean Cain too. Not going to lie. I was kind of like, where's the Dean Cain? Maybe Brandon Routh just show up. I mean, would it have been?
Well, I mean, they did it in Crisis or some kind of tribute to.
Maybe a Kevin Conroy Batman again. We can do that. Anyways, but it is what it is.
So this is where Barry realizes that he might be dealing with his evil self, which I thought that was the route they were going to go, because he's like, I can change things. And then when you look at the Black Flash or the Dark Flash, whatever they're going to call him, he's like, oh, it's me. It's future me. I recognize that scar, which is a very weird thing to say, because whenever you're dealing with multiverses, how do you know that's future you with like whatever? All kinds of rules were broken.
Well, all the shards too.
And then the Flash realizes that, you can't change that. Your universe has to end. So he goes back to that moment with his mom.
Well, not before Young Barry takes the hit. Young Barry is actually
he gets hit, yes.
Yeah, Young Barry is the one who sacrificed himself for older Barry, because the older version of the Dark Flash, that is the one who did all of this. He pushed our Barry out in that certain point in time so that he would ensure that he would get the powers that he needed so that he can come and try to change time, right? And he is about to kill our Barry from our universe or our timeline, and then Younger Barry steps in and he ends up getting killed by whatever the shard was, which of course kills his older self. And so now our Barry is left to now finally undo his mistake and put the can back. Go ahead, Omar. Finish it.
No, you got it. Yeah, and I thought that was okay. That was a really good moment with. Yeah, I need to talk about this because somebody messaged me today asking if I noticed that Jamie Lannister was in this, and I was like, "Who?" What? And apparently, he was just some guy that was eating pizza by Young Barry and stealing it. And I did see, I did get screen grab of that.
Andy Muschietti.
Yeah, yes. This is the director.
But I don't remember it now. I mean, I don't want.
I mean, apparently, it's one of those blink and he's gone moments because he's the Flash. I thought that was a very pretty scene with his mom. You know, I mean, it really pulled heavy on the heartstrings, and because I think, you know, it's. I mean, and I've heard people complain that it's corny, and but I mean, so is "I Love You 3000," right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
every parent has something special with their kid that they share. So theirs was like, I love you first, I love you most. Was that it? Something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course he has to say goodbye to his mom. He knows that changing this will kill his mom. And then we get back to the time where he's like, I'm back. and he's missing his dad's trial, and he finds out that his dad, because he did one little change,
he still changed something.
Which we'll come back to here in a little bit.
Exactly.
He put the hand at the top instead of the bottom, so his dad would reach up and be caught on camera. So everybody in the trial was like, "Oh, he's innocent. He's innocent." So they let his dad go. And then Bruce Wayne calls him and he's like, "Bruce, I gotta tell you some stuff, man. You're never gonna believe this. Like, what you said was right." And then when Bruce Wayne pulls up, like, I know Amanda lost it. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I lost it. I was like, what the hell? I think I yelled it out loud.
You might have yelled, what the hell? And of course, he played Batman and the Batman.
And honest to God, Robin. I was like, you know what? I kind of like this version. He didn't have his back right card. Here, if he had pulled his back card, I would have been. This makes me want to go watch more of this again, and let's review more of those. I honestly don't know why I'm so excited at the end. I was like, there we go. So George Clooney, that's what we were missing.
So in a way, it kind of ends like
Spider-Verse. Yes.
Planet of the Apes. Oh, I was going to go back further. I was in Planet of the Apes, where he realizes the original book ending, not the movie ending, not the damn you all to hell, but the book ending where travels back and he's like, I'm home. And he's like, oh shit, everything's an ape. What happened? Which like Barry's like, oh, I can't change the future. Well, maybe if I change one little thing this time around, it won't mess it up.
Maybe I'll
lesson not learned. I feel like they added that. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. And with Marky Mark, that is correct. Yeah. That's how the movie 2005 Tim Burton movie that he stepped away from ended. There is one post-credits scene which I was like, okay, where are we going? Are we going to tie this in to the Gunn universe? But it's just him finding this Earth's Aquaman, a drunken Aquaman at a bar. I believe it's the Grayson bar because that was another Easter egg I found. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, hey, man, come back home with me. And he just passes out on this little puddle of water. And that's your after credit scene. And that's kind of where everything ends. And that's the Flash. So where to start?
Plot. Let's start with the plot. Let's start with the plot and the writing of it.
Okay, so anytime, like I mentioned, you have time travel movies, you're going to create your own rules. And I'm okay with rules and changes, whatever BS they feed you. Sure, we're establishing new rules, even though we've seen these type of stories a lot of times. Every movie and every franchise establishes their own rules when it comes to time travel. Okay, so when he meets Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne, he learns that, because I did this, it kind of created a different parallel universe. Mm-hmm. It didn't change the future or it created an alternate timeline for the future, but instead created changes in this parallel universe, which can get confusing, but hey, whatever, comic book science. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I thought the plot was okay. I didn't have a problem with the plot. It's a guy that is traveling back to save his mom. Who wouldn't, right? If you found out your mom. The interesting thing, and I don't think it's important, but I know a lot of people are going to have issues with, including my daughter, who killed his mom.
Oh, I had that issue.
I don't think I had an issue with that because I don't think it's important. Right? To me, it wasn't important because the point was, let's save mom. We go back. We know somebody breaks in and kills her. And
I guess for me, it was like a misdirect. I kept expecting that we were going to find out. And that was probably on my own.
Killed her or Zoom killed her.
Yeah. That's
if you read the comics, of course. Exactly. Yeah. You immediately think, or if you watch the show.
Yeah. You're going to think
maybe they went another route with the doesn't matter, right? She's dead. That the important thing is let's get her back. Yeah, and I kind of dug that. I was okay with that.
When the person still show up and then maybe his dad and mom were dead. Like because his dad never went.
Well, yeah, but then then you open up that tomato can.
Yeah, that's
all these endless possibilities. Absolutely, you can make those assumptions, but let's not go there. I don't know how I felt about him learning the time travel just like that, even though it's a Flash. It just he finds out that he can time travel through this thing, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I've never done this before."
I was happy it happened, but you're right, it was really quick.
I feel like we needed some build up to that, maybe 2 Flash movies to build up to something like this.
Yeah.
It's weird because the way that I see this movie is we've got way too much Flash in it, but not enough story revolving around the Flash. Like there's a lot of Flash in here, And if you can't stand Ezra Miller as the Flash, you're gonna get double the dosage. And a very annoying laugh of the young. At least I found the laugh really annoying.
Oh yeah.
Of the young Flash. But then, like, I'm like, okay, what would like 18-year-old Omar be teaming up with 45-year-old Omar? He would be annoying as hell. So I get it, right? Doctor, how are you, buddy? Was it worth waiting 84 years? No. Is any movie worth waiting 84 years? I hope you're doing well. We do have a super chat from my buddy Jack Ferry. Viva Peru, carajo. That's right. I knew it was old when during the credits I heard a young man ask, "Was George Clooney Batman?" That's right. You know you're old. Yes.
That's old.
That's right, Bert. So it's the plot. I don't think the plot was a mess. You got comic book science in there, and I'm okay following things like that. I thought it was entertaining enough as a plot line. I don't think you need a Batman. I think that was just thrown in there because of fans and to get people to the theater. It worked, right? How many of us went to go see this? They didn't have to wait till it came on Max because of Michael Keaton. Guilty.
I mean, well, after everything that happened, it's saving grace, honestly. That's why I think they added more of that in order to get people to the theater. But that's for another time and place.
In my opinion, Ezra was not annoying. I think this was the best Ezra has been at playing the Flash because he got the character of Barry Allen got the shine. We've seen Barry Allen in an ensemble and all he does is joke, right?
Yes.
He's kind of the jokey character. In this, he gets to connect with the viewer because, his mom's dead. We got to fix this. Let's figure this out. And then you learn things about the character of Barry Allen, like, oh, he's been able to vibrate so fast that he can phase through walls, and he figured that out himself. And he can put babies in microwaves to save them. And
what's happening with the babies? And we know he needs the calories. No, I mean, for all it's worth, so in the beginning of the film, I will be honest with you, the way he was playing Barry, like when he was like, he needed the calories, and then when he saw Iris after all that, and he was being very awkward. And the way he acted reminded me of the way Donald Glover portrayed Abed in the episode of Community when they switched places in a Parent Trap style thing. The way he acted in those opening scenes felt very off to me. Once he went through time and then he had to interact with his younger self, something changed. I think that was because he had to be a more mature version of himself.
The character had to grow up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I like that version a lot more. Minus his haircut. Still not a fan of the haircut.
Well, because that is the other thing that I liked about the movie, that it's very self-aware. It poked fun at the way that Ezra Miller played the Flash, from the ridiculous way he runs. When you realize how ridiculous he runs in the scene where they broke in and he lost his powers,
yes,
it's just like, and you're like, oh, okay, the movie is very self-aware to the point where the character of Barry Allen is looking at young Barry and talking about like how annoying he is.
Yes.
So I like that about this particular movie. That
I did as well. I actually enjoyed that.
It knew what it was and knew what the fans hated and complained about. So I enjoyed that. Yeah, I mean, lots of plot holes, but when I just don't think it felt like it had an ending. It feels really weird to end a superhero movie with, oh shit, I'm in a different timeline. Oh,
unless there's going to be unless we know there's going to be a sequel, because that's how Spider-Verse ended. But we know Beyond the Spider-Verse is coming, right?
Yeah,
and they're on a mission. Everyone at the end of it was on a mission to save Miles. So there was we know.
But in this, it feels like
he just accepts it.
Is it done? Because it's done in the way that Ezra Miller Flash is now in a different universe, and we don't worry about that. We're going to have our own Flash in our universe. So that's the beauty of the multiverse. You can get rid of
our universe?
You can get rid of an actor because of all the shitty things they've done, and they're like, hey, look, they're in that multiverse.
So does our universe still have Ben Affleck as Batman, or is there going to be a new one that's
obviously not, right?
I guess not.
Obviously, the Gunverse is going to have two different Batman because you have Matt Reeves Batman, right?
Well, that's Elseworlds.
Oh my God!
Remember,
but multiverse is Elseworld. That's where the idea.
But that is an Elseworld.
Okay. Let's stick to bring it back to this.
Yeah, I think originally there was going to be I think originally the way it was filmed, there was going to be a to be continued, right? They would have hoped they would have had Flash 2, just like they would have hoped they would have a third Superman or an actual Batman movie with Ben Affleck, or more than two Wonder Womans. But of course, things happened and there's new directions. But I still think they were like, we still have to end it this way because at least it's going to signify that there's going to be a change in the universe, and that brings credence to what Gunn's going to do later on. So, okay. But I feel the same way. It was anticlimactic.
What did you think about the plot? That those were my feelings about the plot. How did you feel about the plot?
I mean, for me, the plot, it's like any other time travel movie. You have your stakes. What happens if you want to change something in time? And what is that going to do to time? Like Tony says, when you mess with time, it tends to mess back with you. That is exactly what happened in this film as well. So for me, I didn't really have a problem with the overall plot. I just had a problem with, I guess, how it ended, because I felt like even when we had the berries all intersected together in that what should have been a climactic moment between all of them, I felt that it was kind of overshadowed by all of our cameos of the incursion, the worlds that are currently like.
You almost called it the incursion.
I almost called it the incursion.
Crisis. Let's call it a crisis.
It's a crisis. Wrong property. And so I felt like that kind of overshadowed this moment that should have been our grand climactic moment, that we have these berries all finally fight, and then something would have happened. And instead I felt like it was overshadowed by all of that. And then he just goes off and changes his stuff. And I feel like he didn't learn his lesson. He still changed something. If he had truly learned his lesson, he would have changed not one thing and he would have come back.
Right. Where we were supposed to have this wonderful superhero fight. It feels like the good guys didn't win.
No one won. Yeah.
It feels like the lesson was not learned, which is okay. Yeah. We've seen movies where heroes don't win, right? Because they did lose. Supergirl died. Batman stayed dead. Died. That universe is dead.
Yeah.
So that Barry Allen and the mom are dead, but he created another universe when he saved the mom, or when he. Yes. So it does feel. That's why I said it did feel like anticlimactic. Like there was something that was missing. Yes. The original ending had Sasha Calle and Michael Keaton and Barry Allen at the courthouse. That's really interesting. I wonder why that wasn't kept. Like, is George Clooney that much of a pull to get people going, I just lost my shit. Holy crap. That's amazing. Yeah. All the news from DC kept saying that the ending of Flash would reboot for Gunverse, but then it didn't. I mean, in a way, if you think about it, though, this is how they get rid of the Flash and all these other characters. It's like, he just created a universe where Ezra Miller Flash is. Now we focus on the Gunverse. And if ever, they get help, or I don't know if they hire them back or whatever, we can bring them back because of the multiverse rules. And I feel like in a way, maybe it did.
Yeah.
I was surprised not to see Amanda Waller or Peacekeeper or James Gunn's wife at the end recruiting Flash. I don't know.
Flash for the Justice Society or something.
Let me see what Jack said. I think it was a super chat. Jack, Ezra Miller's style of acting is annoying as fuck. They couldn't act their way out of a paper bag. I thought, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I have to look at this movie objectively to review it. They did a pretty good job. Annoying as hell. I don't like their portrayal of Barry Allen because I don't think the movie's ever understood really Barry Allen. Yeah. But in this, there was a little bit of range, Yeah. You can see a little bit of him. I got to give credit where credit is due. It was right.
I felt like I felt like they did a pretty decent job, especially they had the large task of portraying two very different characters, and I think they pulled that off for what they needed to do for the film.
I'm going to get to this, and then I want to talk about that. Unless you wanted something about the plot.
Nope, I'm good with the plot. We're done. We can talk about the acting.
Across the Spider-Verse again. I saw Across the Spider-Verse against my mom, and then I saw the Flash. I had to explain after what the alternate timelines in universes were, and now it's going to become like, imagine like you growing up, so you'll understand when you're your mom's age, right? So there's this whole generation of like our kids that are like, oh yeah, the multiverse.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You don't need to explain that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an old metaphysics scientist already over here. Look at me.
Thank you. none of the media understands Barry Allen. They're just adapting Wally West and calling him Barry Allen. Exactly. That was always my problem. That's why I watched one season of the TV show, and not for me. And anyway, this goes into the comic topic of like why even bother bringing Barry back if all we're gonna do is make him young. I think audiences had enough of the multiverse. I think we're gonna take a break after this movie for sure.
There's gonna be a break because
sure.
nothing's gonna get made, guys.
All right, so you want to talk about the acting? All right, bring it home. Let's see what you got. What do you got?
Yeah, but we've talked about Ezra at this point and their acting enough that you said you wanted to go back to the dual personalities before we move on to everyone else.
Ezra Miller versus Pete Davidson is a race to the bottom. Thank you for that, Josh. Go ahead, man.
You're right, and I defended Pete Davidson's portrayal of Mirage, but
we need to stop. We need to stop talking about that dude. He gets
like I said, at the beginning, I was unsure about Ezra Miller, their portrayal of the Flash in the beginning, because I felt like I said, the way they were portraying Barry in the beginning with his the way he just, I know that they needed to show that they were low on calories and everything like that, but then it was just so awkward. But then he's not awkward later on, even when he meets his very annoying self, who is not awkward because he can score dates with girls, but he's just annoying and he's just naive and ignorant and spoiled. So there's like two different versions. But I think they did a good job of portraying those characters once they got going. In the beginning, I was unsure, but they won me over towards the end with the acting, especially the emotional scenes with like his mom. Mm-hmm. That I think was I think that hit home for me pretty well. I liked that scene where when he was in the supermarket with his mom, saying goodbye to her essentially in a weird way. I thought that one hit pretty well. Yeah.
I think everybody can relate. We all have moms, and some of us have lost our moms, and and for those that still have, we have that connection with this woman that carried us or adopted us, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's that connection that we can all relate to. So it's exactly how you have to let your mom die, and damn. Which goes back to the plot of like a hero always finds a way with me and my issues with Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, but that's another story.
We had that discussion already.
I thought it was great to see not just Michael Keaton, who I was already excited about, but also Ben Affleck coming back as Batman and kicking ass. Dang, I wanted more of that, but I understand, if like it's like the Obi-Wan Kenobi plot, right? They were gonna get Ray Park to reprise his role as Darth Maul, but when they got Hayden to say, "I'll do Darth Vader," they were like, "Yeah, sorry, Darth Maul. We just got it, Darth Vader." So I kind of feel like that's what ended up happening with the plot. So that was cool. But
do you think that's what happened, or do you just think that Ben Affleck did what he had to do? And because I mean, everything that happened with DC kind of put him in a bad place emotionally or mentally.
But I heard that he had a good time with this. And then, you know what, man? I don't know. I don't keep up with this stuff as much as you do, because then I also read today that he wasn't credited in this movie at all.
How can he not be credited? He was in it at least for 10 minutes.
Suing. I don't know. You know how clickbait works. You read one little headline, and I'm like, oh, that's enough of that. I'll wait to talk to Amanda. There was a Gal Gadot comes back for a little scene, and oh my gosh, that girl, we should have gotten another movie with her. Like she's in this Shazam, and she's in this, and
at least this time, I told Omar when her song plays, at least it fits. It's not weird. You're not at the death of a kid.
Oh, the funeral.
A kid, and then she shows up. Like, at least it fit with the tone of what's happening in the movie. So I appreciated that, Andy Muschietti, for doing
that. True. I lost my mom 7 years ago. I'm so sorry about that, man. And that scene between Barry and his mom got me in the feels. Right. Yeah. I feel that. Is it just me, or did anybody else love the Batfleck? Batfleck's suit, the Batfleck always felt like Return of the Dark Knight. Yeah. That's what it felt like. Oh, I always like those big, like the big beefy outfits that he wears, the older Batman. Michael Keaton was great. The young lady, Sasha
Calle. I thought she was wonderful.
She was awesome.
There's something about her performance so understated, and yet you could just feel everything that, like, the deep pain that she felt of losing her home world. There's just something about her that really resonated with me. I like
having Michael Shannon return. Kentucky represent, fellow Kentucky.
Except when you see his CGI face in some of those
we'll talk about that in a little bit.
God.
Jeremy Irons coming back as Alfred, which I didn't know was going to happen. Unless you did. I didn't know.
No, I didn't. I have no idea. I mean, it makes sense if they're going to at least have some of, Batfleck in there, I guess.
Ron Livingston played more of a lovable type of father than Billy Crudup. It felt more like a connection. So even though they changed the actor, I appreciated it. I didn't have an issue with the acting. I thought the acting was from good to great.
Even George Clooney's 5 minutes of acting was pretty damn good as Batman.
Come on, let's face it. George Clooney always plays George Clooney.
I know, but I was like, okay, I mean, why am I here for this? This is wrong. Those were not good.
No, when she kept yelling like she was losing it when she found out her cousin got killed. What did you? Oh, that was cool, man. I dug it.
The baby
of Supergirl in the movie. We were just talking about her. She was great. I would love to see it. I would like to see. And that's the problem, right? I would like to see her in future DC stuff. But it feels like she's been killed off with the rest of that universe.
Could they keep her?
I don't know.
Man, I did like Michael Keaton with that long hair and the beard, and he was doing his. He plays kooky, like lonely old man so well these days. I just really appreciate.
He's always been a great actor, right? Comedic actor that is just a damn good actor, and I'm so glad to see him back in these type of movies.
To
put on the bat suit after all these years, even though he swore off superhero movies after Birdman, but then he came back as the Vulture, and then he came back as Batman, which is just crazy.
Yes. Matt, there's a couple of lines that I thought were pretty clever in this as well.
I was just okay. Let's get to the dialogue and let's talk about the dialogue. Because I feel like there was a lot of, at least in the theater we were, and in my head, a lot of jokes that did not land. A lot of jokes that did not land.
Yeah, there's a lot that were kind of...
And then some did. Yeah. I mean, there were parts that made me chuckle, and I'm like, what the hell am I laughing about? I don't like this. Anyway, it made me chuckle. I'm not going to lie, a couple of times. But
no, you did.
There were just some really bad jokes from time.
A lot of the bad jokes when they were in the scenes with Barry's roommates, which one of his roommates or one of the she worked with him in his old timeline at the crime lab, and she also was his roommate for younger Barry in his alternate timeline, and her name is Shorsh. I don't know. It's one of those Irish names. Is
that the Darby girl?
Yes, from Derry Girls, and I was like, I love that actress. Yes, it was really good, but I could tell her accent was coming through. So, anyways, I could hear it.
Tom Holland's accent came through in that Avenger or Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, but not in any of his other films. He very much sounded like.
Whoa, okay, I'm not calling him out. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Patty Spivot. Yeah, that's who it was. But that scene, even though it was funny because that's when he was realizing that he was in alternate timelines. They were taught that was kind of that was some of those jokes didn't land, except for the Eric Stoltz tattoo. That did land. I didn't like
I laughed. It was so stupid.
He's like, that's upside down. He's like, is it? I was like, oh god.
And then he raised his leg and his tidy whities. Didn't need to see that. Like I said, some of the jokes, but the dialogue itself, it kind of again plays to the audience that had seen a lot of these movies and were ready to see Michael Keaton back as Batman. The whole conversation about you lost your parents and the pen with Alfred. It kind of goes back a little bit to Flashpoint, and I'm not going to ruin the Flashpoint comic for anybody because it's beautiful. I love it, especially that ending. You're one hell of a messenger, Barry Allen. Oh my God, that brings me to tears every time. But the part where he loses his powers and Batman's like, okay, we're going to get your powers back. Let's get you struck by lightning, which is exactly what Flashpoint did. Like, Barry was just scarred up, and then Supergirl comes in. She's like, hey, okay, I guess you humans are okay. I'll help you. What's he need? He needs to be struck by lightning. Yeah, I'll take him. No problem.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
The lasso of truth jokes were funny.
I
they,
did like
they
that.
were
Was
okay. I didn't laugh at that one, but I'm glad you did, Bert.
I kind of laughed at that.
Yes, Adam, to hear Adam West, but not just him, man. Cesar Romero, and also the Joker gag bag from the 1989
Yeah,
Batman
he's like,
movie
hey, look
with
at
the
that.
laugh.
Yeah, there was little cute moments in it.
New 52 had its moments, Tevya, but I like Flashpoint. I'm not a fan of the superhero movie trope that your movie has to be jokey and lighthearted from start to finish when it all has almost no effect to the story overall. 3 good jokes are all you need. And I think we need that balance in movies, and I think some directors and writers have found it.
Yeah,
All right.
I
Let's
didn't
talk.
think I didn't think the balance was that bad in this film. I mean, the problem is you have a young Barry Allen who doesn't know how to be
Right.
in
And
those
I mean,
certain
if they had
situations.
killed off Barry Allen, that would have been good. Would have been great to see Linda back.
Yeah, we did
That would have
not
been
see
awesome.
her.
But you know,
I'm
what
sure
are you
there's
gonna do?
plenty of can't. Yeah, I didn't see Alicia Silverstone either. I'm just kidding.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay, that's CGI. All right.
The CGI in this
Yes.
movie.
So first, we should note that because we're not the only people who are like, "What the heck is a CGI?" So Andy Muschietti did in a recent interview say that we are in the perspective of the Flash. Everything is distorted in terms of lights and textures. We enter a water world, which is basically being in Barry's point of view. It's part of the design, so if it's a little weird, it's what it intended. This is what I thought every time I saw it, and I'm not going to lie, and everyone else tell me if I'm wrong, but as I was watching it, all I kept seeing is got deleted.
It got deleted. In the meantime,
No.
find it, Amanda. I'll stall them.
No. Oh, I have it. It's fine. So no, this is what I kept thinking of every
Thoughts
time.
on Andy Muschietti directing Brave and the Bold now? Well, like I think it part 1 was great. Part 2, holy crap, they really needed an editor in part 2. That movie was an hour way too long. It's a weird excuse. I don't, honestly, what I think is like the studio was like, look, we're not spending not one more dime on this movie. It's already, you're lucky we're getting it released. Just get it out there.
Well, I thought it was an excuse too. I mean, I get it that we're sitting in the uncanny valley. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
it takes you out of the movie. Like, okay, so I understand. Okay, you know what? If they had just used it for the multiverse, the Crisis on Multiple Earths or Infinite Earth scene, where you're seeing the different Superman, where you're seeing the different, where you're seeing Christopher Reeve, because obviously, the actors passed away, and a lot of these actors are older now. That may have worked, but it's throughout the entire movie that you have this weird, like...
This is what it reminds me of. I found it. So, you 90s fans, if you ever saw the music video Black Hole Sun, that's what I kept thinking of when I was watching it, because that's what the humans' faces look like when you're in the Chrono Bowl, or the babies. And I was like, creeping me out. I don't know how I feel about this. Even so, and I know in the Chrono Bowl it's supposed to be distorted, but then there are scenes when when they're going off to battle, right? And the Barrys have their suits on, and you'll see like the younger Barry looking, and he's talking, and it looks like they've CGI'd his face. Like they decided to rewrite dialogue that he recorded, and they had to just CGI and make his face. And I've seen it a number of times. I was like, why are you doing the Henry Cavill thing with the mouth thing? Why are you doing that? I kept noticing their mouths.
I was waiting for Cavill to show up.
Nah, he never did though, did he?
I mean, we got a little cameo of Superman saving people from a volcano because he was so busy, right? Okay, yeah. So to make it fair though, we really, we across the board we gave the CGI crap also in Marvel movies.
We did.
Because this scene right here, dude, all I kept thinking was this.
Yeah, the floating head from Thunder.
Like what?
Oh yeah.
We've moved beyond this. Like we are now
Can we stop
going
doing
into
this?
like what are we looking at now? This is like video game. Like this is like 2001 Spider-Man type of graphics. What do we gotta get better? And it honestly, we gave this movie crap too for this.
We
bad
did. We did give
CGI.
that crap.
And there was no excuse there. There wasn't like it was because you're supposed to be seeing it through the eyes of Thor, who's distorted because the kids are missing. There was no excuse. So yeah, the CGI was rough, but I will say this: the two berries, holy crap, that was done well. I didn't notice. I did not notice a single flaw with
Neither
the
did
two Ezra, unless Ezra Miller has a twin out there somewhere. From them, and you look for things like that because you know your eye starts looking for mistakes. Like him carrying, like it was completely flawless. Him carrying Barry Allen.
Oh yeah,
Barry Allen getting jumping on Batman while the other Barry, like it, there's not a miss. I think maybe that's where all the CGI went.
Agreed.
Did the humor make you cringe like Thor 4? At times, but not as bad as honestly, not as bad as Thor 4. I'll say it, not as bad as Thor 4.
Because Thor 4 was like every 5 seconds they threw a joke in here. This area, I still feel like there was a pretty even approach to the humor. I don't think that it was devoid of humor. It was, you know, it wasn't like some of the other DC movies that we've seen that have maybe one or two quips and then it's all serious. But it was not Thor 4 by any means to me. No, there's just no way.
The difference is like in Thor 4, to go back to this comment right here.
Yeah.
In Thor 4, the humor was there at the wrong times. And it wasn't that it's every 5 minutes. It's when she's telling him about having cancer. It's when the kids are getting kidnapped by this god killer.
It's when Stiff's about to die.
They're joking about things.
Yes.
It would be like in this, it would have been like when he's, you know, talking about his mom or having a bonding moment with Michael Keaton Batman over the death of his parents.
Exactly.
Then the humor would have it would have been over the top. So no, I think it was better balanced here. Thor 4 was a humor assault. Absolutely.
It was an assault.
And a lot of it didn't stick. You know, I know people, some people really liked it, and more power to you all if you did. I think it's wonderful if you did, but not for me. So yeah, the CGI at points were kind of rough. When he's saving the babies, like I was like, what is
that? Was the first scene that's the first part of the movie that happens right away, and that I did not know. And here's the dancing baby, guys. For those of you who did not,
that was Bert,
and did not know about the dancing baby or Ally McBeal or any of that. There you go. There's the dancing baby.
Thor 4 upped the silliness to 11. This was a Flash movie with some comedy and some awesome action.
You talk the action.
Well, I think at times, like the fight scenes were pretty cool. They were pretty well choreographed, especially with I cannot remember her name.
Sasha
the lady, Feora.
Feora from the Kryptonian. Okay.
I love their character in Man of Steel. General Zod's like commander. Those scenes were really cool. I like that. I thought that was good. I didn't have an issue with the fight scenes. It was mainly like, you know, it's hard to do a fast character movie when you've already had Quicksilver, you've had previous Flashes. It's like you have to create something new, and I don't think they did anything here that kind of broke that mold. I think they played it safe and used special effects that have been previously used.
Yeah. So, and that's what is so interesting. So, obviously, this movie was shown to a select audience back at CinemaCon months ago. And everyone, even Tom Cruise coming out of the woodwork saying this is like the best superhero movie of all times.
Let's take a step back. If Tom Cruise has only seen 2 superhero movies all his life, and one of them was Thor: Love and Thunder, and the other one was Flash, and he makes a comment that this is the best superhero movie I've ever seen.
Well, you know, it's like Iron Man because he could be in it. But I mean, everyone was saying it was not just him, but it was a lot of people coming out saying that it was going to change superhero movies and all this stuff. It was a good superhero movie. Was it the best one I've ever seen? No. I've seen better superhero movies. I don't think it changed the game. Even nostalgia-wise, I don't think it changed the game as far as its homages to old timey. It reminded me of a lot. Well, it's not as bad as when Warner Brothers did their "I'm gonna dump my property" on Space Jam thing, but it could have. Well, what in Space Jam 2, Warner.
Yeah, we talk about how I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, they have the final basketball scene, and literally Warner Brothers, because all these Warner Brothers properties, they just drop them all in. So it's a who's who of Warner Brothers stuff, Game of Thrones, the DC comic book characters. Like it is a who's who of all these people. And yeah, this didn't get that close, but it kind of felt like they were, it was fan service more so than everything towards the end there.
At the end of the day, I thought about it and I'm like, oh, I enjoyed the movie. It was fun. Yeah. It didn't feel like it went, it was too long. It was drawn out. Like I said, I have issues with the plot, mainly the ending. I feel like there is no resolution. It's just kind of dangling there, ready to be picked for the next project, whatever the hell that may be. But at the end of the day, I had fun, and that's what these movies are all about to me sometimes. With the Flash 2 introduced Ham Flash, Punk Flash, and Noir Flash, I think they're going to stay away from the multiverse for a while. Yeah, CGI was not the greatest, but I liked it. I still think it was a good movie. I think it didn't take itself too seriously when talking about the Barry Allen character.
I could see myself rewatching this on Max when it comes out.
Yeah,
and I don't rewatch a lot of the DCU EU movies. Once they come out, they're kind of done, and that's it.
Oh, you and Maddie reviewed, what was it, the Snyder cut of Justice League, and I loved it. I thought that was like a 9.5 out of 10. That movie was great. Loved it. I thought it was good. I wanted more. But yeah, that's where we differ, and that's okay. Difference of opinion is what makes life beautiful. Unless we're talking about the Dark Phoenix saga, God damn it. Then you just make the list you don't want to make. All right, everybody that's seen it, are we done? Did you want to add anything else?
No, we're good. I think
I did a good job with all the gifts that you showed. Like, I think I showed them all.
Yes.
Did I do a good job? I did a good job.
You did.
And knowing is half the
battle. I'm so glad we're keeping that.
Yes, son.
Bully McGuire.
Bully McGuire did not make the cut. All right. Out of 10. Anybody that saw this, and if you're watching this later, leave it in the comment section. And my wonderful co-host, whatever you call yourself, what would you give this out of 10?
So for me, this is how I feel about the other movie we reviewed this week. It was a good movie.
What did we watch? Oh, Rise of the Beast. Yeah, my bad.
It was a good movie, but for me, yes, there were some issues with it. Overall, a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7. I mean,
7 out of 10?
It's for the DC films I've seen recently, it did definitely cut above the rest. But if I had to go with my favorite DC property as Peacemaker, one hands down. God, I can't wait till season 2 comes out. Now there's a masterpiece. Sorry.
Okay. I had fun with this one. Some issues with it, but I had issues with Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse, I still stand by my statement. Was not perfect. Beautiful movie though. This is a 7.5. I kind of want to watch it again. Yeah, 7.5. It was good. And maybe when I rewatched it, I'll freaking love it even more and give it an 8 or a 9. And maybe that sometimes you need that, right? Like you need another rewatch. And then sometimes a rewatch is like, oh, that was a lot worse than I remember. Or you can go the other way. It's a 1 out of 10 from Tevye. Did not like this movie.
Tevye did not like it.
It had good lighting. That's what Tevye gave it, a 1 out of 10.
Yes. Blas gave it a 7 or 8 out of 10 tomato cans. Classy Ulysses 8.5. It was better than everything's better than Shazam 2, unfortunately.
No, not everything. I've seen worse.
I still don't know. I don't know how I feel about being a tie with Guardians or.
I like Guardians 3. Guardians 3 is great.
Yeah, but that was I gave Guardians. I gave a high score.
Justice League was fantastic. I agree. 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10. Really loved it.
Yeah, did you see it? What did you give it, buddy? James gave it a 7. 7 out of 10. Seeing a lot of 7s. 7.5. 1 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. 11 out of 10. Love that Keaton stole the film. Yeah, when you have Keaton, though, he kind of stole Spider-Man Homecoming, too.
He did. I mean, that one scene alone was all it took for everyone to be like, oh, my gosh. Keaton's back.
Amanda, you so... That's a super easy now.
Thank you, Jack Ferry. I don't even think I looked that great
That's how you get. That's how you win a woman's heart. With them.
But
Super
Jeff
chat.
did ask the question: do you think it's going to surpass the 70 million? I don't know. So it made 9.7 in
Hard to
preview
tell right now.
on
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
9. My buddy Matt loved it
Nice.
as well. I personally like Shazam to way more than this movie.
Okay.
4 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and 1 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Some of my more top.
Okay.
Okay. But which one is yours? 7 out of 10 from our buddy Jeff.
Nice.
What's the movie that's coming out next week that could take this one out? What's the next big movie?
Next movie is
Blondie? Not Blondie. No. Barbie.
No, that's not. Barbie comes out opposite Oppenheimer the same day.
Lydia and my wife want to go see Barbie.
So do I.
Where it came from. Like, I don't even know where it came from.
Oh, it's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna see both movies that weekend probably. So next weekend, I don't think anything comes out. But then the 30th, the last weekend of the month, is when Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny comes out.
Okay.
So
it could have a 2-week streak. And that might be good enough. I give it a Pete Davidson out of Tom Cruise. I don't even know what that rating is.
What does that mean?
Oppenheimer and Barbie double feature is mandatory. Is that how we're going to review it on this channel?
Both in IMAX.
I was disappointed by this film. I gave it a B-. The Chris Reeves scene, that did hit. That was beautiful. And you have the John Williams score, I could give a crap about the CGI and an 8. And sometimes things are and for that scene, it makes sense to me to use CGI. I get it. It was fun and I dug it. Still not my ideal version of the Flash movie. Like, where are the rogues? I don't think we had enough build up for those kind of things. Maybe one day.
Exactly. But yeah, nothing comes out big this weekend. So they get a little bit of a reprieve, and then the following weekend is going to be.
When they started playing Chicago, I was telling my daughter, I'm like, I did not expect Chicago to be playing during this scene, but whatever, it's working. You decide. Yeah, we'll review Barbieheimer. What's the Barbieheimer?
I don't know. I want to review both of them. I've been dying to see Oppenheimer. We've talked about on the show a couple times.
Yeah, it's one of my most wanted watches and yours as well.
Exactly.
I know you've been excited about Barbie, and I don't.
I'm not excited about. Well, I am excited about Barbie because I mean, if y'all saw
who's the filmmaker?
Greta Gerwig, which she did Booksmart. Yeah, she has some great. No, she didn't. Yeah, she didn't do book. Yes, she did. I mean, if you saw my basement growing up, we had a lot.
You had a lot of Greta Gerwig.
No, we had a lot of Barbies. Barbie was my gal for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And she's my daughter's gal now. I mean, it is a legacy for women. Barbie is amazing. She can be anything, and she can have everything. She can have everything she wants.
Except solving math problems. Math is hard. You remember that controversial Barbie in the 90s?
Oh, no, I don't remember that Barbie.
Talking Barbie said math is hard, and so many women were pissed off. They were like, you need to take it off. So they removed her off the shelves. So that Barbie that says math is hard, the talking Barbie, is one of the more rarer Barbies to have in a package. If you collect
it's true, because it does. You don't want to feed into the whole women can't do math thing. To be fair, I feel like most of our generations won't be able to do math in a couple of generations, so it's fine.
Why do we need math? We got a phone.
I don't know. We use AI. AI is going to do it.
Wait. We ain't talking about AI now. We ain't talking about. You should review Mission Impossible.
We will. Yeah, I mean, we've got
and Indiana Jones.
Got plenty of stuff. Indiana Jones. Well, you're not going to be back in time for Indiana Jones, right?
Mother fudge! Really? I'm not.
I don't. When do you get back? I don't remember when you get back.
When does Indiana Jones 4 come out? 5.
June 30th. June 30th.
Oh, I will not be back. I won't.
You guys come back. Is it right before? You come back before or after
the following weekend is when I come back.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. But don't you guys worry. I'm still gonna try to do the Wednesday show. So we're gonna have something for you. I might just have to get someone else to review Indiana Jones with me.
Okay. What the fuck? No, I mean. I don't mind Secret Invasion getting reviewed by someone else. Unless you get Harrison Ford to join you or Dan Muro. No. I hope Barbie Girl by Aquarium does not make a comeback.
You mean Aqua? Do you mean
Aqua? Oh, look at him, man. Actually, you, Bert. You hear that? You heard that, right?
Hey, that was yes.
Why have they never released a pregnant Barbie? Because Ken came in a different box. Nice.
Yeah, Joey's already had the baby. I mean,
No
woman wants to be pregnant forever, Phil Owens. We
this
all
was
know
a
that.
joke. How did you not get this joke?
What? Oh, never mind.
Well played, Phil. They did have the Barbie that moved her arm and her breast extended. Do you remember that one? The Barbie that would like you took her arm. Yeah, it was like it was. What was it? It was like puberty Barbie or something like that. In the 60s or 70s, like if you moved her arm, rotated her arm, her boobs would start growing. Barbie has gone through a lot of phases.
Barbie has.
Question: do you think?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, Tevi was like, there is a song, "I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world." Yes, that's the song from Aqua. That's what Bert was talking about.
Do you think the Flash movie blatantly ignored the aspect of who killed Barry Allen's mom?
That had to be the reason, because they were thinking about a sequel, and that would have been the sequel. There was no other way around it. Yeah, which I still don't. We can talk about that.
Demonetized by the potty mouth. I appreciate $1.99. That will balance us ass out, Jag. I appreciate that. We've had Barbie in chairs. We've had.
My daughter has one who has a prosthetic leg.
Yeah, and Barbie. There was Down syndrome Barbie. There was. I mean, if you think about the history of Barbie, which I don't know why I know so much about this, maybe because I just have a fascination with toys in general. How much we've come up, like Astronaut Barbie was the beginning of like, oh, we can do anything with Barbie. This is crazy. Kids are gonna buy it.
I am gonna buy the Issa Rae Barbie where she's president in this film. They do have specialty Barbies of like Margot Robbie, and Issa Rae, who's plays President Barbie in the film, and I want those. That would be a cool collectors.
When I worked at Walmart, a couple of Christmases, there's always a Christmas Barbie. Every year there's a Christmas Barbie, and those are kind of hard to find. But they would give employees first dibs if they wanted a Christmas Barbie, and I'm like, can I flip it? If I was gonna buy this, like I need to flip it, right? I'm not gonna keep it. Who would you select to replace Miller on Flash 2 if they make it? Because I mean, if you introduce the concept of multiverse, then there's a different Flash out there.
Grant Gustin's, I think, done with the role. I think he's moved on.
He did it for what, 10 years almost?
Yeah, long time.
Or longer.
So I don't know, maybe an unknown, maybe a slightly unknown, like Omar always says, I would be okay with someone we haven't really seen before.
Give me a homeless dude from the Netherlands. Get him cheap, baby. Get him cheap.
From the Netherlands. Why are you importing our actors? Find someone in America.
Oh, because it's the joke that everybody in the Netherlands, even the homeless people, are super hot.
Oh,
so that's why you get them over here. 10 years of playing the same role. That's crazy. But then again, Avatar 2, we talked a little bit about this. The delays of Avatar 2 to 5. How old is what's her name going to be by the time?
Zoe Saldana had wrote that she'll be 53 years old, I think, when the last Avatar comes out. And she started filming those movies when she was 27. So if you want some perspective on time, I think she gave it to all of us right there. That's insane. That's insane. I know.
I'd say do an unknown casting or Chris Pratt.
Or Chris Pratt. Someone said Tom Holland too, but I think poor Tom Holland might be.
Poor Tom Holland. He's having an awakening. Bert, thank you for the super chat, my brother. I rewatched Batman 89 the other day due to the Bruce Wayne kicking butt to Chicago. My fourth time watching it overall. Would you recommend the Batman 89 comic? The Batman 89 comic, sadly, is not that good. Superman 78, oh my gosh, that was so good. Batman 89, not so much. Even the adaptation. That's a movie I would love to do. Was it really that good with Amanda? I haven't seen it in a few years. I think when I bought the Blu-rays is the last time I saw it.
Yeah, there we go.
So we have to do that one. Rupert Grint for the Flash.
That's
what about
an interesting casting?
Wonder Woman 60s comic was great, and so is Batman 66. If you've not read those are freaking awesome. Rupert Grint for Flash.
You know who that is?
No. Who's that?
Oh, you don't. It's Ron Weasley.
Ron Weasley. Redheaded kid, right?
He's good in Servant.
Servant is not good in Servant. I couldn't finish watching it.
Oh my gosh,
it was awful. It was awful.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about any of these characters.
But I will say that fake baby in that series is more real looking than the babies in the Flash.
In the easy now.
What are those real life?
They gave M. Night Shyamalan a bigger budget.
Not apparently for a TV show on Apple.
So that's really it. That's all. We don't have any entertainment news. This will be my last show with Amanda until I come back. So you all keep watching her on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. or 8:30 or 9 o'clock, whenever she decides to start.
8 o'clock, yes. But we are doing, so next week I will be doing a review of the first episode of Secret Invasion on Wednesday, and Wonder Maddie will be joining me. So if you want to see some of the old reader duo back together, we'll be there on Wednesday doing a review of Secret Invasion. I can't wait to check it out. But of course, no one can replace Omar while he's gone, but we'll try our hardest.
Come on.
Yes.
Many have tried. They've all have failed.
You have succeeded. But maybe Maddie probably will be fine. She'll succeed.
Maddie will be fine. She'll be fine. I am curious to know. I can't wait to watch these things when I get back. And Indiana Jones 5. Or whatever.
I'm going to have to find someone to watch Indiana Jones with me and review it. Anyone in the chat, you want to watch Indiana Jones?
That's not how this works, fellas. That's not how this works. She's forgot how easy people can be replaced like that. All right. Let's put you back where you belong. All right. Anything else before we sign off for tonight?
Nope. That's everything. It's all I've got.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I am going to miss doing these shows with Amanda because I love taking a break from reading comics to talk about movies and TV shows and whatever crazy shit actors and actresses are doing out there to try to get banned from their movies. Oh, my gosh. And there's a lot. And I find out a lot through you all, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's see. Conan the Barbarian for old reader, new reader. One day, that would be great. Yeah. She's got Conan, and I can hook her up with some Conan.
That's 6 volumes.
Anything else? Is that it?
Nope, we're good. Yeah.
So that's my boy DBZ All-Star. Thank you so much.
Hey, DBZ All-Star.
Jeff, Omni Dog's your kind of guy, man. He's
an old dude that
gets half the shit that he reads. I love Jess. Yeah, that's it for us tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Hit that like button on the way out. And if you haven't seen The Flash, go and watch it. Make up your own.
Make up your own mind. I mean, unless you have your principles and not stick by those. It's a hard decision to make, depending on everything that, is going on around the movie outside of the movie itself. But
J-Man, what'd you give Flash, brother? I'm curious what you gave it. J-Man also reviews movies and comics on his channel too. But I'd love to know what you reviewed it. And I will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the last Saturday live stream before I head to Japan. Then Maddie and Tina take over. J-Man, give it an 8 out of 10. You liked it. That's awesome, dude. I give it a 7. Did I say 7.5? 7.5. Yeah, I like this one. This is solid. Yeah. Man, I thank you for being an amazing person you are and for keeping Omar in line. Let me tell you something right now, DBC All-Star. Ain't nobody can keep Omar in line. People try. Thanks for a great show. Safe journey, Omar. Thank you, guys. CGI is bad. Yeah, but that's it.
I just think there's no way that he can make the excuse of it was meant to be that way. I don't think that's the case.
That was DC saying that's enough of that shit. Let's get this over and start with the gun universe.
Exactly.
Everyone stay healthy and safe. Thank you for watching. Much love. Amanda, sign us off. Sorry.
Don't forget to like, subscribe button. Everybody follows on all of our social media channels at Near Mint Con. Go check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Mint condition merchandise, and also check us out on Patreon, where you get some great benefits for just $1 a month or more and support us in everything that we do here. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Good journey to all our one.
You got anything else to that? You're gonna have to
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Yes, baby. Let's get nuts. Bye, everybody.